Good afternoon, class, and welcome to our intervention, Smoke It Smoke, Halt the Hookah, created by Samir Ahmed, Melissa McGuire, Cecilia Miranda, Nuvia Torres, and Rosaldo Wordsworth. Smoke It Smoke, Halt the Hookah is an intervention aimed at adolescents aged 12 to 18 with the purpose of reducing/preventing hookah usage through peer-led discussion groups. Our main goals are 1. Reduce or prevent the use of hookah smoking among San Diego youths aged 12 to 18. 2. Educate the youth on the harmful risk of hookah use. And 3. To enhance the health of middle school and high school youth through the use of peer-led discussion groups. Our study contains many objectives. Our process objective: 2 weeks prior to the implementation of the peer-led discussion groups, 5 students from 2 participating middle schools and high schools in the program will be trained as peer mentors who can discuss the health risk of hookah use. Our learning impact objective: after a year of participating in the Halt the Hookah peer-led discussion groups, students aged 12 to 18 will have increased knowledge by 25% on health risks associated with hookah use. Our behavioral impact: prevent adolescents from starting to use hookah by 10% using peer-to-peer social support. And finally, our outcome objective: we hope that after participating in our intervention, students will have decreased their frequency of hookah usage. Our evaluation questions range from univariate to multivariate. Our univariate questions are: what percentage of students were able to identify at least 3 health risks caused by hookah usage? Our second univariate question is: what was the average age of those who had smoked hookah? Our bivariate question is: examine increase in knowledge scores by age. Our multivariate question: which of the following events contributed the most to students' increased knowledge of health risks associated with hookah use? Was it Hookah Awareness Week, peer-led discussion groups, or assembly? Our second multivariate question is: can the risk of hookah usage be predicted using age, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status?
This is our conceptual model. The social networks and social support conceptual model shows how supportive connections between people influence physical, mental, and social health. Our model consists of 5 hypothesized relationships between social networks, providing social support and health. These interweaving relationships and the resources we provide will effectively increase knowledge of health risks associated with hookah use in teens 12 to 18 years old. The health outcome that will be measured is the increase in knowledge of health risks associated with hookah use and decreased prevalence of hookah smoking.
Our research evaluation design is non-experimental design. We chose non-experimental design because our intervention cannot work using randomization nor a control group. The aim of our program is to prevent hookah use and also provide services for students engaging in tobacco use through peer-led discussion groups. This requires access to all students wanting to participate. We will use a pre-test, post-test design on our project. A pre-test survey will be given to the participants before the start of the program to know what level of knowledge they have regarding the harmful effects of hookah use. An intermediate survey will be given at 6 months from the start of the program to assess the effectiveness of our intervention and will not require a control group in this measure. Finally, a post-test survey will be given at the end of the intervention to measure if the objectives were met. We will use comparison group, which will be all of the data from the National Health Survey on teen drug use. Hooray! It's method time! The sampling procedure that we selected for Smoke It Smoke, Halt the Hookah is purposive sampling. Purposive sampling is a type of non-probability sampling which allowed us to select 8th and 12th graders to participate in our peer-led discussion groups. Being that Smoke It Smoke, Halt the Hookah is a pilot program, our resources such as staff, funding, and so on are very limited. By selecting only 8th and 12th graders, we were able to conduct a smaller intervention and were able to control for the possibility of a confounding variable, which is the different ages of students in the middle schools and high schools. We hope that 8th graders will be representative of all students in middle school, and same for the 12th graders in their high school, since older students often set the example for younger students. In order to measure if our program objective was met, pre- and post surveys were distributed to the participants. The pre-survey measured the initial knowledge of participants' perceived health risks towards hookah usage by conducting the pre- and post surveys. The Smoke It Smoke, Halt the Hookah program will be able to measure its primary outcomes, which are the number of students who are able to identify the 3 health risks and consequences associated with hookah use, the rate of students' hookah usage, and the rate of students' increased overall knowledge associated with hookah use. The independent variables that will be controlled are the student's age/grade, the student's ethnicity, and the student's socioeconomic status. Our survey questions are as follows. For learning objective, can you name 3 health risks associated with hookah use? Our type of variable is nominal. Behavioral impact, do you use hookah? If so, how often? With the answers ranging from never to very often. Type of variable, ordinal. Outcome objective question, my overall knowledge of health risk associated with hookah use increased. From strongly agree to strongly disagree. Type of variable, ordinal. Wait, what were we talking about? Oh, look, our findings! From our findings, we found that on our pre-test survey, only 8% of students could identify at least 3 health risks associated with hookah use. On our post-test survey, 42% of students could identify at least 3 health risks associated with hookah use, a dramatic increase. In our findings, we also found that our pre-test survey, 44% of students used hookah often or very often, but within our post-test survey, only 23% of students used hookah often or very often. Our behavioral impact results showed Smoke is Smoke, Halt the Hookah program was successful in preventing adolescents from using hookah by 10% through the use of peer-to-peer social support, exactly as we predicted. For our learning impact objective, we predicted that the students' knowledge of health risk would increase 25%, but our study surpassed that and the participants' knowledge of hookah risk increased by 34%. When we examine increase in knowledge scores by age, we would reject our null hypothesis because there is no observable difference between 8th graders and 12th graders for increased knowledge scores. Specifically, 8th graders' knowledge increased by 29% and 12th graders' knowledge increased by 38%. For our outcome objective, we successfully met our aim of decreasing hookah usage by 10%. In fact, we decreased by 21% among those who had originally smoked often or very often. Okay, wait, no. See the way our limitations are set up, like no. Limitations. Our study cannot be generalized. Our study is self-reported, meaning that participants may lie or omit the truth. Students might not show up to peer-led discussion groups, and our study is not a randomized sample. In conclusion, Smoke is Smoke, Halt the Hookah was a huge success. We found that we exceeded our initial objectives in almost every category. Our study, Smoke is Smoke, Halt the Hookah, proved to be truly novel because although there were many research studies that aimed to reduce the use of tobacco among teens, the research for reducing hookah use was scarce. All in all, we reached our ultimate goal, to increase knowledge of health risk associated with hookah use and tobacco-related product among 12 to 18-year-olds participants by 50% in chosen 2 middle schools and 2 high schools in San Diego County by the end of the school year. We hope for the Smoke is Smoke, Halt the Hookah program to be implemented nationwide.
Come on and give me some applause.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. You all are so wonderful.